power, put some power, put some power. Put some power every hour, every motherfucking hour. Hope everything's going well for you. Yeah. Video 2, part 2. AnkhBishop, chopping it up. Things going on deck. What's up? So I want to keep talking, keep chopping it up. Like I said, getting expressing and getting it off my chest. Breaking some bread. Hopefully you twisting up a cigar, or you at least getting a sip on something. If not, just hope you're enjoying the conversation. I just know I need to talk and really express and get stuff off my chest. There's a lot of conversations that we're not having. We need to be having. Now, but for real, so the second thing I said I was going to talk about was commercial motivation. I think it is important. It's critically important to understand that if you were born in America, you were born in a commercially ran world. Like, I mean, in this day and age, that's what the whole thing is. So this, unfortunately, is what drives a lot of people in their servicing the public. It's how can they gain commercially? This, in turn, it kind of taints what people give, how they give, you if they will give, because people are kind of mindful about how important this energy is, these notes are, this currency is. Um, they've only been really shown about one type of currency. They haven't really been like given the awareness of what this currency represents, and the most important currency being your attention, being your awareness. Most people haven't been shown that. They've only been shown this currency, this fiat note being um, energy, being the currency that moves things. So this is why they're aware of, and this is what they notice. This is why they focus on it, and it makes sense logically. That's not the issue. Um, the issue is just they haven't been made aware of the fullness of the scope, and then um, it becomes the driving force in society. It becomes the driving force. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because money is the bad thing or it's the root of all evil. It's not. That's not what that means. It just means that people need to get a better understanding, a better scope of what is relevant. Because I think to me, it's always been about being efficient. You know what I'm saying? Like being efficient with my time and with my own energy. And I don't like to really like waste it and throw it away. Um, so once I became aware, like, okay, there's something going on down here, and there's people who look like they're enjoying themselves, and there's people who look like they're not really enjoying themselves, and I need to understand the difference. Once I became aware of that, then I started to really start come making a database of information. Uh, I wasn't really asking people questions directly as much as I was just gathering information and observing what was going on. Uh, because I felt like sometimes when you ask people a question, they'll give you what they want you to hear, or they give you what sounds good. But if you observe situations, if you observe a person, they will show you the truth. They will show you um, like what the real is. So commerce is such a beautiful thing. Like it's such a fundamental thing. But it's like our math, and this goes into the other thing that I kind of want to touch on here. This all deals with relationships, though. Like relationships are paramount, and we don't really understand our relationship with ourselves well enough to have an, a fruitful relationship with other people, and have communities where we are like enjoying extraordinary harvest. Like right now, people say they want to do this off grid stuff, but if you were to go off grid with 15 people that are with the condition that we have right now in society, um, it might not last long. It might not be productive for long. In some cases, I know that it is, and it is, and it would be, uh, if you just pick 15 random ones, that'd be a heck of a game. That'd be a heck of a show. I think that is a show. That's funny. But anyway, I didn't think about that. No, but it's like I just wanted to, speaking personally, I just wanted to be mindful about that and that importance of that, not the importance, but the factor that commercial gain has in the service people offer towards the public, or even in just the the development of the public. I mean, it's kind of like you have to get to a point of understanding, like you have to create, otherwise you're a consumer. And if you're a consumer, then you're the public, you're the general public. And if you once you become a creator, you become a private individual by default of that, because you've made a distinction between what was created and and a creator. If you have not created something, then you are only the creation. So you are only the result, and you typically only think in the public mindset. And think about how that translates. It typically translates like it correlates to be true. It's only people that are creators that have the ability to elevate thought, like elevate a way of being. If you're not a creator, you don't have that capacity to think beyond uh, the mundane. You don't have the capacity to think beyond the mundane. So that's interesting. That's interesting how that kind of just came out. That 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 principle of how important being a creator is, how important you know creativity is. It's extremely important. And um, yeah, this it's the commercial motivation that 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 causes these drawbacks, I feel. And it's a constant. Energy exchange is a constant because currency and energy is a constant. So the issue isn't money. The issue is people being driven by not understanding really what true money is. Because if this body is temporal, but the principle of money is eternal, then how would I store up money in a way that's not temporary? Like that's a big question to understand and to think about. If the principle of money is eternal, but this body is temporary, and we know how to operate with the temporary money, then how would you gain and store up the eternal money? What would that be? You understand what I'm saying? What would that be? And that would be, if you would figure that out, if you could come to the understanding of what that is, and you started focusing on that, then that would be efficient. That would be you actually efficiently becoming wealthy and not wasting your time, and not wasting your time like a lot of people do. This is once again why people get to this age and this space to where uh, they have a midlife crisis or something like that. It's because they haven't actually put stored up treasures. They haven't really unveiled like what true currency is, what true wealth is, and that would be self awareness. Self awareness is real money. Like that's money. That's wealth. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the highest level of currency. It is real money. It's the money that transcends the temporal. This is what's important for you to store up. And everything outside of you is a reflection of yourself. So how you choosing to interact with the reflection is how you begin to learn about the self and become more aware of the self, how you create the self. But you naturally have an inclination, and through the observation of your inclination and through the studying of other dynamics, you can really just get an ideal blueprint of what your particular lesson of self-awareness development is in this third dimensional paradigm. Self-awareness is real money. So uh, that's really like the key is that distinguishing that understanding the difference between what is money, what's temporal money, and what's eternal money, and then becoming efficient. Like, don't waste your time. Don't invest your time into anything that into. Don't invest more time into things that are going to be that are temporary into things that we know are eternal. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to do that. Why would you put more time into something that is temporary than to something that is eternal? That's not good math. Once again, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. But if you don't know, you don't know. You only work with the numbers that you have. Yeah. So that's the type of stuff that I share all the time. People when especially when I'm talking one on one. You know, that's because that's when I'm talking one on one in public. I break bread with anybody. I'll change somebody's life in a heartbeat. I'm a portal. I'm a walking Stargate portal. It's just all about are you aware and are you open to your development? Because what you need to be made aware of, chances are high I'm aware of it within me, and you can pull it from my field or you can pull it from my beings and through my expression. It depends on where we go, whatever. But and by where we go, I mean like mentally in conversation where we travel astrally in our conversation with our eyes open. It's incredible, but that's what happens. That's what's taking place. You know what I'm saying? And it's important for you to know that. It's important for people to know that what's going on. Everything isn't always just like everything that's invisible is taking place visibly as well. You just have to be able to see it and understand it. Understand what you're doing, how you're interacting, how you're causing things, how you're creating things, creating situations, creating timelines through every action and decision. There's an extraordinary movie that came out. Um, what's it called? It's a long title too. It's something crazy, something like it's like a zany title. Like, damn, one of those. What would you do? Or I don't know. I had to get the thing on the title of that movie, but it's a really freaking incredible movie. Like basically just explain. I mean, it explains it in very crystal clear form about quantum jumping, quantum timeline jumping, and how to change your timeline through random actions, through random acts, doing random things. I need to figure out the name of that movie. Name of that movie that speaks of timeline jumping, quantum jumping is what I'm about to say. Uh, showcase the timeline jumping. That movie was dope. I need to actually buy that DVD version. Timeline jumping. But yeah, the thing is about energy and relationships and having true intimacy uh, with yourself so that you can share that with somebody else. Because those sorts of homes glow. You know what I'm saying? Like those sorts of homes, people come out of those homes glowing. And you have people that have actually been able to share intimacy with each other because they actually have healthy intimacy with themselves. Those are people that feel fulfilled. They feel fulfilled and satisfied and grateful about life because they are being filled with joy in their homes. They're being fed energetically the most nourishing meal that you can have. So it's an important thing. And it's not about gender warfare. That's what keeps happening. That's what's taking place. It's coming from trauma. It's coming from people that are hurt. It's coming from people that are hurt. And it's unfortunate, that once again, not enough leaders are focused on healing. They're not focusing on healing, showing people how to heal themselves, healing themselves, making people aware of trauma and in ways that they can recalibrate themselves and regenerate themselves. That's what something else that needs to be harped on. It needs to be preached on over and over again. Because if people are not going to care about what they're doing. So let's talk about self healing. Because these are the subject matters that need to be spoken on over and over again. Now, you want to talk about them all the time, so you can make sure people get this encapsulated in one of the videos and one of the messages that you talk about, in one of the conversations that you have. People are being made aware of self healing and self regeneration techniques and tactics that are economical. But even if they aren't necessarily cost effective, like who cares? People will spend thousands of dollars on things that are not healing themselves. They'll spend thousands of dollars on material things that don't heal them, that don't regenerate their beings in any way whatsoever. They're just that thousands of dollars would be exchanged into another material object and would just sit there and not do anything. That material object, it won't do nothing for them. Once again, this is the difference between people who understand what true wealth is, what true currency is, and people that don't. The people that don't. Like you realize like how easy it would be to transform society when you got 15 millionaires. I mean, just one multimillionaire, and every one of these millionaires has invested a fraction of their capital, a fraction of their resources into a fund that is facilitating activity. Come on, man, and find a way that activity can be commercially viable to a degree, but mainly sociably, like a high level of social contribution, high level of social value. Like, come on, like that. That to me is like, come on, like how don't we have these things established? How is it because I need to have these conversations? Is it because it's okay? Well, I'll be where are the rooms that we didn't have these conversations with? Where are these rooms at? Bring me into these rooms. Show me where these rooms are. Spirit, Lord Ganesha, Goddess Kuan Yin. Show me where these rooms are that people having these conversations and pull me into these rooms so we can have these conversations. Because this is what needs to take place. To me, it's not even hard. It's not even hard. It's very easily broken down. Very easily observed and transformed society. Very easily done. It's just like, why hasn't it been done? What are y'all doing? Y'all watching football? Oh, y'all watching basketball? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's a 2 3 hour meeting. That's 3.5 hours of progressive conversation, productive conversation that is thwarted by something that don't amount to shit energetically. I mean, It does and it doesn't. I'm not taking nothing from sports because I love sports. I'm an athlete. I love being active and doing things. But you have to prioritize. You have to prioritize. I say people that have hobbies that you can tell that they're doing that. That's what they love to do. But things have to be efficient. They have to amount to. They have to amount to things for me. They have to amount to things for me. It's about being efficient. It's about being efficient and progressive with your self awareness, with how you're developing yourself and how you're growing yourself. What are you understanding about life? What are you understanding about your life? Not even all about what people are telling you. What have you experienced? Have you understood why you experienced those things? Have you understood how those experiences could have made you stronger, have made you a better person, have expanded your understanding of those experiences? They gave you a different perspective, a different perspective of somebody else, a different perspective of you. That's all data. That's all data. That's all information. That's all gems. That's all treasures. These are your perspective. This is you and how you feel about something and wanting to grow from a thing, wanting to create from a thing, wanting to express from a thing. These are all gems, your creations, your forms of creation, your forms of expression are gems. Your voice, it means something. Your voice is valuable. But what's critical to be mindful of is your awareness. What are you focusing on? And what internal, what internal, what internal houses of awareness are you building? Because you have questions inside of you. You have questions inside of you, and no one can answer those questions for you but you. And you taking the time to get those questions answered is what builds your internal awareness. Is what builds your database of knowingness. Hmm. The questions that you have about yourself, questions that you have about your world, your experiences. This is how you build up your knowingness. See, you're expecting somebody else to have those answers for you. You're actually relying on somebody else to have those answers and give you those answers, but they won't because they can't. They can give you their answers. They can't give you your answers. This is you honoring your internal relationship. This is you loving yourself. It's taking the time to seek your answers. And and it's not about telling everybody what your answers are. It's about taking the time to really find out what your questions and what your answers are. Developing your questions even and getting your answers. Being your answer. You know what I'm saying? People are so big on wanting to talk and want to be heard rather than understand. They tell you to listen and listen and understand. Listen to understand, not listen to respond. People hear something from themselves and want to tell everybody about it, tell the world about it, be seen about it, get some sort of accolades about it, which is good. But it's I've seen somebody mention it the other day. It's like it's leaking. It's called leaking. You know, it's kind of just spilling over because it's you can tell who really, excuse me, is actualizing themselves and taking the time to actualize themselves and spending the time when nobody is watching them to dive into themselves. You know, you can kind of see it, you can hear it, um, and people don't want to take that time because that's time away from getting someone's attention. You know, it's the thing. You can't give yourself undivided attention and be seeking someone else's attention at the same time. That's deep. Deep. Somebody right there. Can't you can't give yourself undivided attention. That's deep. Damn, that's deep. I'm sorry. I had to write that one down. But that's a big one. You can't give yourself undivided attention and seek someone else's attention at the same time. And because people are trying to do that all the time, because we have so many things that could potentially grab someone else's attention, or so many things that could you can gain someone's attention very quickly, in particular through these phones, through these devices, through these boxes. Then people aren't that's what's keeping the focus from developing. And this lack of focus, this lack of focus is not really allowing people to really mature their knowingness and mature their beingness. You know, it's not allowing them to do it. Like I said, they're kind of echoing and mimicking the same things, uh, but there's not any actual true advancement. Like I said, if I just I just been taking time, you know what I'm saying, developing me because I know that's what I had to do. But some of these rooms I have to be in now. I could tell because I was expecting somebody else to kind of do these things, and you can't expect nobody else to do nothing. You have to be the one to do it. If you have the ability to see of it, to think of it, the capacity to think on a certain level, it's because it's you. You the one that's got to do it. You the one that's got to put it out there. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily saying you got to be the one who, you know, um, you just brought you had to be the spark of awareness to bring this type of thought into beings into existence, and then once you conceive of it, if you can create it, if you can creatively express it, yeah, that right there is a pivotal key. If you can conceive of it and then creatively express it, then you get to really experience it actualized. You know, so that's a big key. That's a big key, being able to do that. I forgot exactly where I was going with that. But, yeah, people, that lack of focusing one's attention, because you have so many things that are now taking one's attention, and people aren't actually getting to the levels of wisdom that they can actually get to. They're not developing themselves and to the level that they could develop themselves to, because it's just energetic leakages going all over the place. So anyway, that's how you develop a supreme relationship with yourself, is having that ability to give yourself undivided attention, and I'll stop allowing things to take that attention away. And then get to those great spaces of great landmarks of healing and regeneration, and you combine with somebody else who's doing that work, who's done that work. And like I said, those sorts of homes, those sorts of households are ideal. Those sorts of homes glow. The more homes like that you can have glowing, the more communities you can have glowing. And that's how you build constellations on Earth as well. But also with just people. Every individual is a star. So I feel like that's another way where you build solar systems and constellations. You know what I'm saying? So uh, yeah, that commercial motivation is a big thing. It's jacking a lot of people up. But it is important to have some sort of um, commercial vehicle and understanding commerce. Um, but I feel like it's not something that should be used as the main vehicle. But everybody has their own way of flow and operation. So I'm not judging anybody. I'm talking about uh, me and some of the dynamics that I've observed that I feel has limited progression in communities in general. Certainly in spiritual communities, but in just communities in general, you have just these commercial motivation being um, a major drawback, and things not being where they should have been a long time ago. Like, especially now. That's why I know we're the generation that's going to do it because all the keys are in place for us to be able to do it. This is about us being focused and then aligning and locking arms with those who got that same build as us. You know, as myself and people like me. Once we build and start linking up and locking arms, we'll be able to just do what we need to do for ourselves and continue to build and regenerate unhindered. Because that's what it's going to be. That's not an option, and we're not going back and forth about things. We were born to reestablish things how they should be. So that's what we're going to do, and there's no fear about that taking place. It's just about making sure that we actually just stay focused on what we need to do to build up our infrastructure and to build up our networks properly. You know what I'm saying? And going from there. But the main thing is that we're building up our inner being, and we're linking up virtually right now, and we'll be linking up in many other ways soon. You can kind of feel it. So I'm kind of winding down. I feel like I've expressed enough of what I wanted to get out. These were some key conversations. Something else I did want to touch on. It was some things I had wrote down from some things I've seen. I need to pull those up. But, this I'm still tripping about this unisync thinking. I think it was called unisync. What the brother called it. They're talking about alligators, and he catches and tames nuisance alligators, and then he has like shows, and they kind of walk through different like river and swamp areas, and I guess it's like a whole tour or something like that in Florida that this brother puts on. He's got a lot of different big alligators. He worked with a lot of crocodiles and alligators, and he was saying that they're always alert, like they're always aware, like they're never actually even all the way like sleep, but they can rest one side of their brain, like and shut it down, but keep the other half of their brain fully aware, so they're able to get rest, you know, and but also be extremely alert, so that way they're not able to get caught off guard and ever, essentially, for the most part, because uh, they're on high alert, and they're always ready to get a meal because they're always alert once again. And I thought that was incredible because I had never heard about that. He said a bunch of other things too. They had a bunch of these little black dots on their jaw, and these are all like sensory organs though. and extremely sensitive. He was saying it's like thousands of times even more sensitive than the tip of our fingertips. Each of these black dots are. So it's like when something touches it or brushes it across it or by it, it's a reflex to move their mouth and bite once they get a certain texture. If they get another type of texture, that it won't react, and that's why the sensitivity is so extreme. But anyway, I just wanted to say that because I saw he mentioned it. I thought that was an incredible fact as well. If you ever see an alligator or crocodile up close, look at them, they have all these little black dots in front of them. I don't know if that's like a jaw you would call it, but excuse me, that is those are all sensory organs. But anyway, it's about the thinking though. The fact that they have the ability to shut half of their brain down and go to sleep with that half, and the other half is fully aware and alert and aware, so they have the ability to respond quickly to do whatever they need to do. They were saying dolphins also have the same ability as well. They have that ability as well, and dolphins are mammals, but crocodiles are reptiles. So when I heard it and I started the process, it was like, okay. Well, to me, reptiles correlate with our base level thinking ability. We have a reptilian brain, and it also correlates with our base chakras, our root chakra, root way of being, of operation, version of I am, but um, speaks of like home and stability and providing for oneself. The dolphin being a mammal, I would look at it like it's a. I mean, and it's not even looking at it like it's an extremely developed animal. It has the ability to do a lot of things. I've heard it's been reported that they've healed numerous special needs children or people who have different ailments, people who have different forms of ailments. Um, Certainly, autistic children, they have the ability to heat up water to very high levels, and because they have the ability to emit very high frequencies. These things, high frequency and high energy, correlates to me, which once again it reiterates the fact that these are highly vibratory being, high level beings that I would correspond with you could say like a superconscious brain essentially, um, um, and would correlate with the with the crown chakra with the color purple. So I just thought about that dynamics of that, like wow. But they both have this ability. They both these are two opposite ends of the pole, you could say. So I thought that was an interesting situation. Wow, what's the chances of that? But we don't have that. We aren't built like that. So because they have this unisync capability, unisync brain capacity to shut off one half of their brain, it allows their body to not do things, not breathe by itself. So they certain things are automatic and reactive, but certain things they have are not, and their bodies are designed to where their breathing is aware, is mindful, and this is so that if they were to get incapacitated underwater, then they wouldn't continue breathing and drown themselves. They would, just pass out and be on pause or whatever uh, until they're able to regain consciousness, and then they would go to the surface and breathe. So humans don't have this ability to do this. Um, we can, our body it goes into automatic mode. And when I thought about that, I thought that was interesting. I was like, well, why is our body designed like that, and their bodies are not? And what came to me was that it's because we have this ability to leave our bodies. We can travel. We are not our bodies, but we are our bodies at the same time. But we are spirits that chose to experience life through the senses of the body. And that's a big deal because it it showcases that it's something that we do, and it's something that it's something that we should become mindful of doing, um, because we have the capacity to become mindful of doing it. Everybody doesn't have the awareness or the drive to want to learn it at the same time. I know if I would have learned it early, I was always a big daydreamer. I still am, um, but that's an important skill to develop. Is being able to leave your body in fullness, in full consciousness, and go to another space in time. Because essentially, that's how you gain eternal life in full awareness. Is you having that conscious ability to do that gives you the ability to not taste an end if you don't want to. If that's how it's written for you, or that's how you want it to go. And it's certain, and that's an actual a state of being. That's a level of it that can be attained. That certain monks do, certain traditions do. They'll get to a certain space and they'll say, "Okay, I feel like it's time for me to be done here. I've done all the work I need to do here with this vessel, so I'm about to go." And then they have a whole ceremony and have a whole ritual process, and they lay that monk out, and he leaves his body for the last time, and they pack him up. They go through the rest of the ritual. But they put his body away because he just left it. That was his last ritual. He did it consciously though. It wasn't like he had an ailment or something like that, and his body was breaking down like it is in Western culture, a lot of modern culture. So this just denotes that there's something that's missing. You don't hear about this this level of living and awareness in Western traditions, in religions and cultures, and it's just something to think about. It's a reason why it has things have to get transformed, because there's so many things lacking, and it's such a pivotal foundation of your lifestyle. What your spiritual makeup is, it's like the foundation of your cultural lifestyle is whatever the spiritual makeup is. And because we have one that's kind of like not really serving the spirit, like as it should be, it's not really serving the soul. Then our communities and our societies aren't really whole. They're not really, they don't really have substance because our foundation isn't substantial. Our spiritual understanding and awareness is not really of substance. It's not substantial. It's hollow. It's not really giving us the things that we need. I just talked about two different things that they're not being emphasized, and people have no idea about. But something else I want to talk about, the last thing, was this math is fucked up. And that's causing, because it's such a fundamental part of our society. If people think that this is, if people think that um, some of the rudimentary equations are right, but they really should be wrong, then how are they able to look at anything else in fullness and look at it accurately? It's like they're not able to do that. They're not able to do that, but they think they are. I think they are, and that's a big deal. It's a big deal because anytime I've tried to look at this answer, or I've tried to make sense of things, I research it thoroughly. Excuse me. I research it pretty thoroughly because I try to get a keen figure finger on this thing. So the math was simple to me. I mean, I was just thinking one day, just processing like things in general, because I'm always just wondering and thinking about things. Even if I already think that I know it, I'm still thinking about it again because I'm like, well, maybe why is that like that? You know, it might be some. Why is that like that? Or maybe I was wrong about that. You know, it's something that somebody told me, or it's something that I know. It's something that I know. So I'm thinking about math, and it's like, okay, some people say that 1 plus 1 is 2, but you can also say that 1 plus 1 equals 3. And you can say that it's miracle math or whatever you want to say, but it's real. It's what happens. And 1 plus 1 can be 3 because that these two together, this one and this one makes another thing. These two together. So people say that it's a child or whatever, but it doesn't have to be a child. It just could be a mindset that becomes created. It's a field of energy that becomes created by default because each person has their own energetic field around them. Because anything that has anything electrical, any electrical current has a magnetic current around it, has a magnetic field with it. So we are electrical beings, so we have a magnetic field, and each person has their own magnetic field, which means that together, this is a new magnetic field that has been created. So that can be said to be something new completely. That's a third thing by itself. Not two, not two. It's a third thing. So 1 plus 1 could be 3, and that's math. But that's not saying people don't say that that's right, but that is right. That would be right. That's accurate. But the thing that got me to trip me out was when I started thinking about like what zero was, because and it was wild because I was actually thinking about I was watching Dr. Palad, matter of fact, the other day. And he was talking about when something that ancient ancient Indians invented, which has been said to be ancient Egyptians. This was just ancient Kemetans. I think it was like ancient Sumeria, and they split off into Kemet and well, it's something like that. It was something to the effect that I heard that this was a split colony or whatever. India and Kemet was, but that's beside the point. But he was saying that they invented zero or whatever, which was like incredible to me because I remember just reading something where it was saying that somebody invented the numbers or whatever, or the number 3. That's the first time I had seen the number 3. And I was like, man, that's amazing. It was a Moorish, writings. They had created that, I guess that script or whatever. But anyway, it was zero. Zero was interesting to me because I was like, this is a letter and it's a number, but it's a number in particular. It's a number that seems to have like an immense amount of power, like, and it changes form. Like, so how does it change form? But it's the same number. You know, I never really understood how we could do that because it's like, okay, if you multiply by zero, then it trumps everything. It um it it outweighs everything somehow. But if you add with it, it has no weight at all. Like, so I don't understand how that makes sense in value. What is it that causes it to change its value? Is it its awareness of the circumstance? So that to me is incredible. How awareness must be equipped in math, and awareness must be zero. It must be, because there's nothing else that could change its form based off of whatever the circumstance is. There's no other number that can do that, that has the value to be able to do that. That's what I thought this was about. But I know everything with this is zeros and ones. So if that's the case, it once again reiterates that zero must be the source, and one is the creation. So But even within multiplication, I was just thinking about, and this is the thing that had tripped me out, was just the fact that if you have 3 times 0, if you have 0 times 3, it makes sense that that would be 0, because you have 0 multiplied by 3. There's nothing to multiply because 0 has no value, so it will only make sense that the answer would be 0. But if you have 3 that's multiplied by 0, that should still be 3 to me. Like 3, if it's multiplied by 0, should still be 3. How does the value of the 3 disappear? It shouldn't, because the value of 3 is there and 0 has no value. So if you multiply 3 by 0, it shouldn't take all of the value of 3 away. Like, so math is supposed to be logical. It's supposed to be supremely logical, even though you get to points quickly to where you're stepping into um, variables and dynamics, but it's still based off of logic, and the variables are always left in the equation unless they're solved for, to my knowledge. So to me, though, this doesn't make sense, though, if this is supposed to be math and it's supposed to be logical, but how does the value of these numbers disappear because it's multiplied by 0? If it's added to 0, it doesn't have any value. If you subtract from it, it doesn't have any value. So it doesn't make sense. I don't really understand. If you divide by it, I think it takes away the value as well, but that doesn't make sense. If you divide 5 divided by 0 shouldn't be 0, because it shouldn't have value. That's just my take on it. I feel like that doesn't make sense. But people say that it makes sense because that's what they've been told over and over again. But I don't understand it. And I try to make it right. And I'm like, I don't know. Based off of this principle of logic, what you're saying is just not really adding up. If you want me to agree with it, I might. But I don't really think that that's right, though. I don't think that makes sense, though. But I really don't care like that. It doesn't affect me like that, to my knowledge, yet. But I guess it does affect us all, because if that doesn't make sense, and that's something that we're supposed to learn in like kindergarten, first grade, then is it like that throughout the world too? Like, do they have that same math, uh, like hypothesis? You I don't know. I wonder. But anyway, I talked enough. I just wanted to get some stuff off my brow, and I'm about to eat some food, chop it up. I want to do some more, but I know I couldn't. I just stuff I need to say, and things I really ain't got to talk about relationships, my relationships yet. I talked about them another time. I do, but I think that was more important. The principle of these principles are most important. And that's what I'm going to start talking about more. I'm going to start studying more, taking more notes, and talking about them, regurgitating and reiterating it. So that way, I'm at least compiling information and creating a database, and creating a database of information that is important and it's relevant, I feel. And it's something that's not really being spoken of, but it needs to be spoken of more and more, and reiterated more and more, because this is the time when it's union season. It's time to build. And it's ideal. You don't need to have, but it's ideal if you can have the synergy of unions, because of what's able to be created. The capacity of creation, when you have that level of union, is unparalleled. So yeah, I'll leave on that note. Well, I love you. I miss you. I appreciate you. I cherish you. I thank you for being you and for continually growing you, for doing you, and for loving you despite it all. You keep waking up. You keep getting up. Keep showing up. And that alone is it's committing. It's committing to the great. It's committing to your great. It's being who you desire to be. So I'll talk to you soon. And stay encouraged, stay empowered. Um, yeah, absolutely, stay empowered by any means necessary, any freaking means.